Hi, everybody. Welcome. We got another edition of Piercing the Veil, and we have a special guest tonight with Marty, the Nonnaboss Continuum, and I have my sidekick Jane Chiro Sounds, and I'll bring her up.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
So we got Marty coming on here in a minute or two, and we're going to talk about anything and everything in the unknown and bizarre and weird that we can think of. And she's going to explain some of her experiences, and we're going to just go from there and have fun tonight. And it's going to be a nice, relaxed conversation. And I hope you guys all enjoy it. And thank you all for joining us. So we'll go ahead and bring Marty up here, and we'll get started. And hope you guys all have fun.
Hi, Marty.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. I was like so happy that you asked me to be on your show. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I can't wait. Like, I don't get a chance to do a whole lot of shows. So it's fun for me when I get the opportunities. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing your stories.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I started as a young child. I've always had intuitive type abilities my whole life. I kind of always attributed them to, things would either feel good to me or they would feel bad to me, right? Like when I would come across someone I didn't know and I always just kind of threw it into one of two buckets, like it was good or it was bad. And then my whole life, I was a sleepwalker, and we lived in, my room was on the second floor, and my mother would find me outside. How I got outside, she could never quite figure out, because remember those like old chain locks that you could put on your door? You would slide the thing, right? And you know how high they were when little kids couldn't open them?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she would find me outside with that still on the door. She kind of could never figure that out, but so yeah. So I was having, I used to see a lot of strange lights. I used to we had this one window on the second floor that looked out over, it was they ended up turning it into a park many years later, but it was just this forested area, and they had like some beautiful ponds and lakes in there, and when they froze over in the winter, we'd ice skate there and stuff, and it was just this like open area towards the front of it, but then the back was just all woods. But I remember, just standing in the window and just looking out and just seeing all of these like lights in the sky. It was very, when I was thinking back to it, I just kind of thought I didn't know what they were, but it didn't seem weird. It just seemed like, oh, they're there. Like, I don't know. It didn't seem weird to me to be seeing them. And as I got older, I never really had those kind of experiences after moving to Florida. I was about, let's see, I ain't going to say how old I was, but it was in 1980 when my family moved us down here to Florida. And I never had any more of those experiences. It just never happened again. So
you never sleepwalked again.
Yeah, and I never sleptwalked again. And it just seemed like, my mom thought, oh, well, maybe it was stress. Or this is what she would always say. Every time you go to your cousins and you play so hard on the weekends, all week long, you're sleepwalking. And it never made sense to me, but that was like the comment that she would make about it, and I would then when we came down here, I just never, it never happened. And then in 1986, hey there, Ted. My my first husband and I, we used to do, I mean, he was kind of like a Crocodile Dundee kind of guy. Like he was just one of those outdoorsy guys, loved to hunt and fish and, catch all kinds of weird things. So we would go out to the Everglades and we would drive along the levees at night with our headlights on, looking for snakes. And this one night, it was it just was so weird. I mean, we know what's out there, the area that we were in, and we know the animals that are there. We used to go during the daytime and go out there and fish and things like that. So it was kind of like we were driving along the levee and this thing came up and it was on all fours at first. The
Oh.
levee is only big enough for one vehicle. Like you couldn't fit two vehicles on these levees. It's like a forest road, right? It's like one lane, literally like 3 feet, and you're down you're down on each side. It really is not very big. So it was like it came up on all fours. And as it came up, it was just all we saw was like just black. It was just solid black. And then in the center of the road, it's almost like as it came up on all fours, it started to transition and to take one step in the middle of the road and started to kind of like stand up. And
Oh.
when it did that, it took that one step in that transition, and then it turned and looked at us. And when it looked at us, the eyes were red. They were glowing like from the inside out. It wasn't eye shine because it
Oh,
was
wow.
a lot taller than the headlights. You know what I mean? Like the headlights are it was taller. So it kind of like took that step in the transition and took the second step and then was down the levee and gone. It was just gone.
Wow.
Wow.
And
It-
down here, we always heard about the skunk ape and that, oh, they're out there. And, it was always this kind of lore. No one really thought that they were out here. Not really. But when we had that sighting, I was terrified. I was just like, I mean, I'm screaming and I'm like, back up, back up. And he's like, no, because he had to go like, you had to go all the way to the end of the levee in order to turn around and go back. And I looked at him and
Oh.
I'm like, no, back it up, back it up. We're not going down there. I mean, there's only a couple things that are that black
Yeah.
that
Wow.
could be. And that would be either a black panther or a bear, but it was not a bear. And it was much larger than any black bear we have here in Florida. We were, I just, when I think about it and I think about the size and how big it was, I was just like, it was just terrifying.
Wow.
It was on all fours though, right? Is that what you said?
Yes, absolutely. It almost like it was, kind of crawling up, like crawling up the side. Because the levees are kind of like that,
Mm.
they're kind of like this, right? With the road flat on top of it. So they're like this. And they go down. And when, on each side are usually like, it could be this particular levee, it was sawgrass. So swampy sawgrass on both sides for as far as the eye can see. I
Mm.
mean, like an ocean, like you can't see the end. Like it just, because the Everglades just goes, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like there's really anything that could have been. I don't know how to explain it. It's so strange. But Matt and I, because of that particular sighting that I had, one of the things that we have talked about as researchers is that here in Florida, our canal system and our levees are like a roadway. I mean, canals and levees go for miles and miles and miles and miles. And we've always wondered if the levees and these canalways are part of how they kind of get around in our area.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Could be.
Yeah. Hey, William.
You know, I messed up tonight. I clicked on the next episode of Piercing the Veil, and it doesn't have your info on it. So that's why it's everybody's saying, "Hey, I think we went to the wrong stream."
Well, I was in chat and it didn't start. And I'm thinking, what's going on? So I X'd out and I found it saying live. And I'm seeing everyone saying, oh, there you guys are. I'm not sure. Maybe let me see if anyone's in chat. Well, sorry, guys. This is live. We're having technical.
So I'll have to edit it later, I guess, because you're actually on our next episode with Robin and Duke from Big World Bigfoot.
Oh, no. It does say Robin and two.
That means that I will get 4 times the views now.
Oh, no. Let me go over here. It does say two in here.
That's
Yeah,
so
it's weird.
funny.
I don't know how that happened. I must have clicked on the wrong stream right from the very beginning. I was wondering because I couldn't even see Jane at the very beginning. It's like, what's going on? I
You're
know I
like,
sent
what
the
is up
links,
with
and I
that?
was in the wrong stream to start with.
Yes.
But we've always had very weird kind of like experiences, also paranormal. I've always had a lot of paranormal experiences. I've lived in a couple of haunted houses and my kids um my kids have experienced a lot of paranormal things as well. Now, I will say, going back to kind of the ET kind of thing, one of the things that I have a very hard time with, and I don't talk about it a lot, because it gets me a little emotional because the ETs didn't come back into my life again until I was pregnant with my children, when I started having
Oh,
children.
wow.
Yeah. And, I remember when my oldest, he was about 4, um, between 3 and 4, because I had just had Matt. Yeah. So, okay. So he's not quite 3. Um, but he talked really early and he just woke me up. Like he slept in a little toddler bed and he would, like he would just come and wake me up and be like, the little men, mommy, the little men. And then,
Wow.
and I put him in bed with me, and when that kind of thing started happening to me again, and then it's a horrifying thing for a parent when you recognize something could be happening to your children and you can't stop it.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can do. You can't, you're helpless. You're absolutely helpless. And as Matt got a little older, he was started to sleepwalk and same kind of thing.
Oh,
And I would find him
really?
outside. Yeah. So, it just was and he would wake up. I think Matt had more than my oldest. Um,
Hmm.
he used to wake up with terrible bloody noses. Sometimes he would have blood kind of looked like a couple of blood drops kind of coming out of his ears sometimes. Some of them would, I'm just, I mean, this is all obviously it's speculation, but it's something that's not easy to talk about because I don't know if any of this is ET related. I can't prove it. Although, Matt and I both now still do have ET experiences. I think a lot of it I've kind of compartmentalized. But when we went to Georgia last fall, we had missing time and had some sort of an ET encounter. And it was kind of funny because it felt like we've all been young before, right? We've all had those times when we go out partying and then you can't remember what you did, right? The night
Mm-hmm.
before. And that's how I felt, like this missing time, like it was just blank, just blank, like blacked out time. And even though Matt and Jessica and I talked about after the experience that night, we got back to camp and Matt literally just turned on his camera and let it roll. And we each started talking about what happened that night to us. And in the moment, I said, even on camera, I said, hey, we should all check our bodies. We need to check our bodies to see if there's any like marks or anything like that on our bodies. And we were all like, yeah, we need to do that. Well, we never did it.
Oh.
I don't know why, but we just never did. And then when I got home and I hadn't showered in 4 days from primitive camping, and I take a shower, I couldn't wait. And I get in the shower and I saw these marks on my arm. And it brought it flooding back. It just brought a lifetime of experiences flooding back. And of all the other missing time and all the other weird experiences. But Matt and I we've had together and seen a lot of UFOs. Interestingly enough, when we're together and it happens, it's usually because we're doing some other kind of weird paranormal experiment. We love to do this particular experiment where it's called the Estes method, and then we mix it with the Gansfeld method. So basically, you have headphones on, noise canceling headphones that are plugged into a spirit box. So, and so all you're hearing is white noise. It's all you're hearing. And then Matt made these goggles that it kind of like flashes almost this color actually.
Is that what's on the beginning of your show, the intro?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's us doing one of our weird experiments. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So what it basically does is the light's flashing and stimulating your third eye, right? So that's what it's doing. And you're in this state because you can't hear anything. You can't see anything. You have you have no idea what's around you. And you're in this like state. You're completely just in this zone, right? And when you're in that zone, all you're doing is focusing on listening to what's coming through your headphones. I have no idea what Matt is saying or Matt is doing. I have no idea outside of that little space that I'm in because it's you can't hear or see. He starts doing sessions and he will start asking questions and then I'm answering, and how I'm answering is whatever I hear, I'm saying.
Okay.
So whatever I hear, if I hear a name or, so I never even know half the time what comes out because because you're just kind of in the zone and you're listening and you're just saying what's coming out. So I don't even remember 99% of it. Like, I don't even remember the words I even said. And every time we do that experiment, every time, it never fails. I come out and he goes, oh, got another UFO, got another video. Yep. Got another video of another UFO, got another one. And I'm just like, okay, this is kind of a little not fair.
Yeah.
I'm always the one that's like, I don't get to see anything,
Wow.
That's awesome though.
But they do, it's kind of weird. Like there's one particular entity that tends to only come through when I'm there and when I'm doing it. And it never, it's like, it's weird. Like he always has the same name. And we've done it when we did it in Georgia and we've done it down here and, all kinds of different places we've done this. And when I'm there, usually at some point during the session, he comes through.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's it's weird. I don't know. I don't know if he's an ET. I don't know. I think he is an ET. Or at least an ultra terrestrial or interdimensional being, if you want to call it. I don't know, but he's always kind of lurking around. That
Now,
guy.
is it the same people all the time that come through to you, or do you feel different entities all the time, or?
He's the only one. He's
Do
the
you have a
only
name?
one that has come through several times with me.
Do you have a name?
I
You
know
don't
this
have to
sounds
say
You don't
it.
have,
weird.
you don't have to. No, you don't have to say it.
He calls himself Blip.
Blip.
I
Hmm.
Blip. And
Maybe he's a time traveler.
yeah, you know, Matt and
Blip.
I have so many theories as to who he is, what it is.
Sasquatch.
And you know, I don't think
Wow.
he's Sasquatch. I don't
No.
get that. I don't get that because I definitely, you know, like I can feel when they're
You know the
around.
feelings.
Yeah, yeah. So Sasquatch is very different for me in the sense that I can feel their energy and I know when they're around. I can generally tell. I can't tell specifics. I can just say I can tell if it's a male or if it's a female. I can tell if it's an older one or a younger one. I can tell if it's where they are, like a general location. Like I can tell if there's 3 of them. I can say, okay, I can figure out there's one here, there's one there, there's, you know, like I can kind of like figure that out just by reading their energies. And how I always know it's them, and I call it the tell, is I get tight in my chest. I get very tight in my chest and I feel like I can't breathe. And then as soon as I recognize that it's them and that they're around, then I literally kind of in my head, I just kind of start trying to communicate with them. I know they hear me. I know they hear me because all of a sudden things will relax, things will be okay, everything feels good, harmony, calm. They don't interact until after I leave the location.
Oh man.
Wow.
After I leave, never fails. As I'm leaving in the car, pulling away, then that's when they will start communicating with me. It's a bizarre thing. And I feel like, you know, I think it's for them. It's like, not that they don't trust me, but I think for them, it's a comfortability thing. Like they're like, okay, I feel safe enough to communicate with you.
Mhm.
So, yeah. And
So
they'll give me the,
it's not really necessarily mind speak because you're not really communicating back and forth, but you just know his presence and feel the essence of
correct.
Sasquatch.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the communication that I get after I leave the location, it's kind of been different each time. Sometimes they'll give me names, sometimes they'll give me a situation, or they'll explain something to me. Sometimes it'll be pictures. It only happened to me one time. There was a time when I actually channeled a Sasquatch. And I didn't expect that to happen to me. I was kind of having a conversation with someone, and they were talking about their experience, and they asked me a question regarding something to do with their experience, and the Sasquatch that they were having this experience involved with that experience came through and and kind of channeled through me. And the message that he gave me at that time was it was super emotional. And I still to this day, my goodness, we are 20 minutes in and I'm already about to cry twice. He was very, one of the things that he allowed me to feel was how he felt about how much he loved his mate. He allowed me to feel the depth of that connection and that love with her. And then he continues to tell me, you know, that how much he cares about humanity, how his group in his area, how much they care about humanity. Okay. Us, humanity. And then he allowed me to feel this bond that he had with his mate and the love he had for his mate.
Aw.
And then he goes on to share with me that even though she died at the hands of a human, he did not give me the details as to what happened to her, but he allowed me to feel the grief that he felt.
Hmm.
So when I think
Wow.
back and I know and I feel that and I feel the amount of the love that he had for her, and then the grief of her loss, the loss of her, and then he gives me back this love that he has and that his group and his clan have for humanity. It was a very emotional thing, and it was really surprising to me. He's the only one that has ever done that. He's the only
Hmm.
one that has ever given me that much detail or that much information, or that it was the only time that's happened to me. It's never happened since. But it was very powerful, and to feel it's very, very hard to explain. It's not like any other feeling that even it was deeper than what I feel for my children. I mean, it was this
Hmm.
I can't explain it. It was just this like it was powerful. It was super powerful.
Unconditional love.
That's so
Oh,
amazing that you'd have that experience that somebody could actually transfer their emotions and their feelings to you and let you experience that. That's just amazing. I mean, could you imagine if we could do that?
yeah. It was powerful. I mean, here I was having this conversation with with someone about their experience, and when I started feeling it, it hit me like a wave. It was almost like like it washed over me and through me and out me, and I have chills thinking about it right now. And when it happened, I instantaneously, and he hadn't even got to the part about his partner passing, being, taken away from him. He was just giving me the feeling of love, the feeling that the love they have for humanity. Because from what he shared with me, where he is, and I don't give specifics, but where he is in his area, I know this sounds so flippin' weird. It doesn't sound weird to the people that I was helping that day. I will tell you that. But it does sound strange coming from my perspective. But this particular clan, in a way, has a job. And their job, there are several portals in their area, and they
Hmm.
monitor them.
Interesting.
They monitor what comes in and out of the portals. And in a way, they protect us from those things, these
Hmm.
beings. So I don't know how they got that job. He just kept saying to me, the land was given to them, not to the Sasquatch. The land, he just kept saying the land was given to these beings. Now, these beings did come through during the session as well. There were two. Um, And they also said the same thing, that the land was theirs. It was given to them. By who, I don't know. The portals, another thing they had told me. Again, guys, remember, abilities are not like, everybody's abilities are different. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the information that you get sometimes absolutely makes no sense to you. You just kind of like share it, right? Like, so one of the things they said to me was that the portals are kind of charged, or what makes the portals work co- comes from under the ground. And the picture that they showed me is this like, you know how if you look up in the clouds and you see like sun rays filtering through the clouds, those
Right.
rays coming down. Okay. So it looked like that, but in the reverse. It was like I saw this round dome thing, kind of like, you know how marble has veins in it? Like the
Mhm.
veins in marble. Okay. So
Yeah.
it had those veins look, that veiny look, and it was kind of brown with these goldish looking veins, and then these rays filtering through it, like up and through it. And like
Hmm.
that was the picture that they showed me, that whatever this thing is under the ground, and that's what charges, and that's what makes the portals work. I don't know. This is just what
Wow.
they shared with
Yeah.
me. So it was a very weird thing. So and then come to find out that after I had this happen, and this all of these beings were coming through and telling me all this information, and it wasn't because the people that I was having this discussion, it was their experience, and I was able to give them information. Like I was like they didn't really tell me what happened. These beings told me what happened, and the Sasquatch. Like they're the ones that told me what happened to them. So them confirming this information was very validating for me, because some of it sounded crazy as hell. I was like, what?
Wow.
You know,
Wow,
and it was
that's
very,
cool.
yeah, it was pretty crazy. It really was. But like I said, this is the only time that's ever happened to me. I have never had that happen to me since.
How
One
many years
time
ago
only.
was that?
It was just, let me see. It was only a few months ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was only a few months ago. I can't, trying to remember if it was,
Hmm.
I
Now,
want to say I want to say it was in November, I think, right around November-ish no, I take that back. My apologies. It was in December. It was sometime in December when I had
see, I
this.
always thought Sasquatch was the original indigenous people for our planet or Earth, and then being tied in with nature and so close to, like you were talking about, somebody gave them this job of protecting the portal. So I would imagine who's ever in charge of Earth, if it's not Mother Earth itself or however you want to say it, that they're so finely attuned to what's going on this planet that they would have a job like that to protect the portals, to make sure that we're safe and they're safe and the planet's safe from anything coming from the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it made sense for me after this whole thing happened and I did a little research. They never told me the specific area that they were in. I knew a generality of where they were, right? And then when I did a search, I that whole area is full of this special kind of quartz under the ground. Now
Oh.
that did not come through in any, like it wasn't like they said, "Oh, there's quartz under the ground and that's what makes it work." It was like they showed me the picture, right, of what it was. So then when I went and I did like a little research on the area, and when I found out this has got this special type of quartz in this area, I'm like, "Oh, okay,
Hmm.
maybe that's what they were talking about."
Do you know the name of that specific course?
I'll tell you backstage.
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you.
Now,
I
this
can tell
image
you
that you got sent to you, was it like a download or was it just an instant image that came into your head?
an instant image that came into
Mhm.
my, yeah, it was
Now,
just
was
like,
it an over top view or could you actually see inside the dome what life was like inside?
no, I couldn't see. It was like, it looked like kind of like a cave in the back, right? Kind of looked like it was
Hmm.
sitting inside a cave. And the light was coming from inside it out, which is what was giving it that ray looking effect.
Mhm.
And then from the side, is looking at it, straight on, I could see the veins of whatever it was. Like not like
Right.
pulsing like human vein, not like blood veins, but like it was marble or something, or some kind of something with veins through. And it's so hard to explain
Right.
it.
That
I
that
know.
could like flow energy through.
That's giving me goosebumps.
Yeah.
I have goosebumps all over my arms right now.
It was
Wow.
it was a very strange looking thing. It didn't it's so strange because it didn't look like it was really illuminating. It did, but it didn't. It's like light was coming through it, but it didn't seem to be emanating. Like it's so difficult to explain it. Like it didn't look like somebody had a flashlight on underneath
Right.
it. It just somehow, some way, there was just light coming through it. It's so bizarre. I know it sounds so strange. It's so
And
hard to try to.
it can't be just a glow either, because a
No,
glow would get, so if it was shooting out, there was
it,
energy there shooting up.
right, right, exactly, exactly. It was a strange thing. But when I think about some of the images that they had given me that day, Sasquatch and these beings, I didn't feel like any of them were really trying to harm us in any way. And I definitely felt like that the beings were interdimensional and not ETs. That's what I didn't get the feeling like that they were traveling back and forth on crafts.
Hmm.
That land was given to them by who they never said, and
Wow.
they didn't tell me that. They just said it was given to them, and and I don't know. But I will say that I like, Robin McRae is amazing, and I've had her on my channel a couple
Hmm.
times. She's an amazing, amazing woman, and I
We've
love
talked to her. Yep, we've
so
talked to her on
so
the phone.
yeah, and I definitely believe I definitely am like believe her and what she says and how about them, that they're part us and part star
Hmm.
people. And I believe that. That's
Yeah.
from the interactions that I have had with them and the daytime sighting. I haven't even got to that yet. My daytime sighting was the being that I saw. I saw him from here up. Looked
Mm-hmm.
human to me. Human.
Oh.
Did not look didn't look like Patty. I know everybody loves Patty, but that's not what I saw. What I saw was auburn hair, gray, light ashy gray skin, kind of football player or a basketball player type um, frame body, maybe 7.5 feet, not very big. I took him to be a male. I took him to be a younger male, a juvenile, teenager feeling is how I felt. Um, and we locked eyes for like 3-4 seconds. And then he, like, as a periscope, he just went straight down
Oh.
Oh,
straight
wow.
down into the brush and was gone. And
Wow.
then that same day, my daughter-in-law, it was Matt and me and my daughter-in-law, and we're all kind of like standing on the trail. Matt's to my left, she's to my right. She's a photographer and she has like a Canon, like, professional camera. And I started taking photos. She started taking photos. I looked everywhere in my photos. I couldn't find what I saw that day.
Oh.
About 3-4 months later, I said to Caitlin, I said, "Hey, can I look at those photos that you took that day? Can I just check your photos out?" I went through like two or three photos, and then there he was. I found him. I was like,
Oh.
there he is. But I don't share it. I don't share it. I don't post it. I don't share it. It was like it was something for me
Hmm.
because it was not scary. It was actually very kind of calming. It was a peaceful thing. It was a spiritual moment for me. It did not feel, it felt like he was like, I'm here. I'm here. I'm right here.
So are you
Mm.
saying that
Wow.
was a Sasquatch or a different entity that
It was a
appeared to you?
Sasquatch.
Okay, because that was for some reason when you started describing, I was thinking like Nephilim or giant looking, but then you said it was shorter and not quite
Hmm.
as tall as what you'd normally think.
Yep. No, it was a
Interesting.
Sasquatch. But
All right.
I don't share it. I don't, there's certain details like I will not give out any of their names. If I get a name, I don't share it out. I don't even mention their name. Um, it's just not something that I feel is I just don't, I feel
Right.
like if they trust me enough to give me that kind of a detail, then it's for me to know, kind of.
Right.
Robin gave us a name of
Yeah.
one of them that's been watching us for a while.
Yeah. And see, I can't connect with them in that same way that she can. Like
Right.
her abilities are
That's
unbelievable.
amazing.
Yeah. I mean, unbelievable. Like I can't even imagine having that kind of, but she's been that way her whole life, right? Like
Right.
some
Yep.
of us just have everybody's abilities work differently. I mean, I'm an
Mm-hmm.
empath, and like when we have hurricanes down here and we have like things like that going on, I'm usually really, really, really sick for several days because I'm feeling everybody in this whole state of Florida. I'm feeling their anxiety. I'm feeling their like it's
Mm-hmm.
because there's so much of it. I can't block it. I don't care how much a person who has abilities like that there's nothing that can stop when there's millions of people that are going through those kinds of emotions and very heightened, and they're terrified and they're
Mm-hmm.
scared and they're confused and they're frightened and they're anxiety and they're just, am I going to be here? Am I going to be alive? Am I going to have a house? What about my pets? And what about this? And what, I mean, all of these things are happening and it's to millions of people. You can't stop it.
Right.
And I usually get very, very, very sick. I'm for 2, 3 days sometimes. The last one, Ian, we had so much devastation across almost the entire state. I mean, I think it was a good. I would say probably 3 weeks. I was sick for about 3 weeks. I couldn't shake it. I couldn't shake it so much. It was so overwhelming.
Yeah, that's really draining. I mean, that takes a lot out of you, let alone spiritually. You're focusing and hearing that, and then all that comes into you, and it's just a toll on you. And
Yeah,
you hear about this in writings, even whether it's Edgar Casey or in historical facts, where usually after they have a session or whatever, they pass out because it's just so draining on their
it
system.
is. It is.
Mm.
It is draining. It is taxing. It's hard. It's hard sometimes. And I wish I had an off. I wish I could turn some of this off sometimes, but it just doesn't, for me personally, it doesn't work that way. It just
Me
doesn't
too.
for me.
Now, how do you
So
recharge? Is it the crystals or is it the quartz or just alone time or focusing on yourself and taking care of your health? Or how do you recharge or get over that session? Or
everything you just said.
Yeah. Ditto. Yeah. Ditto. I was going to say that when I am
Yeah.
drained, you have to have me time, certain kind of music, and just
Yep.
quiet, and
Mhm.
you get it back. It can
Yeah.
take time. Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of the things that I do, I try really hard to do every single week. I try to do it every week. Um, I, 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 a salt bath, a cleansing salt bath, and
Mm.
then I literally just fill my tub with warm water, and I just put in either like Himalayan, pink salt, or I'll put kosher salt or whatever, and I will listen to binaural beats or some kind of like meditating type, like YouTube something,
Mm-hmm.
to kind of just give me that calm and peace. Sometimes I'll listen to light language. I love light language.
Mm.
I feel like it's so like I don't know, light language just really puts me in this beautiful, peaceful place. And usually by the time I'm done with my salt bath, I feel 1,000 times better.
Mhm.
It's like hitting a reset button for me.
See, that's what I like about your show and the shorts you do and the pictures you send out, you know, all the peace and love that you're putting out, because you're getting a lot of negativity coming into your system and your body, and you just can't hold that in. I mean, you have to release it some way, and you got to turn it into love and peace and spread it out, or you'll just kill yourself from the inside out.
Yeah. It's a conscious decision that I have made in my life to be positive and to speak positively and to just spread love and kindness. Like that's my mantra, like love and kindness, like love and
Mhm.
kindness. That's all, you know, like if our whole world could just focus on those two things, love and being kind to people and being kind to others, wow, we could change this world. We could so
Yeah.
change this world, you know, in big, big ways. And I feel like that's my calling. I feel that that's my calling. My calling isn't to channel Sasquatch or do weird experiences and experiments with my kid, you know, like I feel like my calling is to bring awareness and to be a light and just to be a
Mhm.
light and show love and kindness and just, you know, I don't like drama. I don't like
Yep.
drama. I do not do drama, you know, and
Same here.
I on purpose make sure that I try so hard to stay out of drama. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be mixed up in some of the things that go on in the community. I try to, you know, now I will come on out and there have been a couple of videos that I have had to do, and I felt like I needed to do it to address a few things that were
Mhm.
kind of going on in the community at the time. I definitely have done that, but my motivation for that is we need to stop fighting.
Yeah.
You know, we need to stop the infighting that goes on sometimes in the community. Like there's no need for it. There's plenty of channels, there's plenty of us out there who are sharing with the world our experiences, our views, what we, you know, think about, what we're concerned about, the information that we want to get to our subscribers, our viewership.
Yep.
And there's you know, if you're not happy at one channel, that's okay. Go to another channel. That's
Mhm.
okay. I'm okay with that. It's like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like if you're not, if what my show brings to anyone else, if it doesn't resonate, that's all right.
Right.
Because, you know, sometimes I talk about things that are way out there. I do. I talk about them because it resonates with me. And
Mhm.
I think, and I feel like if it resonates with me, I'll bet I'm not the only person that it'll resonate with. And then I share it. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I really, really, really love to just, I want people to think twice because it's actually, it's a decision. It's a conscious decision that all of us can make and just be kind, you know,
Mhm.
show love and kindness, you know, those random acts of kindness, right? Like
Yeah.
here's something I used to do. I know this sounds so stupid, but this is something I used to do. I don't know if anybody else has an Aldi. Do you guys have Aldis where you
We have
guys live?
Yes.
Aldi. Yes, we have Aldi.
So you know what I used to do at Aldi? You know how like Aldi, you have to put the quarter in to get get the little cart, right?
Yeah.
So what I would do is I know this sounds nuts. I would go to Aldi and I'd take like $2 in quarters, and then I'd get my cart, right? And then as people would walk up, I would be like, "Oh, here's a quarter. Here, you can have a quarter. Here's a quarter for you. Here's a quarter for you. Here's a quarter for you." And then I would go and do my grocery shopping. I know
Well,
I know that sounds crazy, but that's the kind of things that I do. Like, I like to do that. You know what I
It's
mean?
not
Like,
crazy. I do the same thing because when I
do
go out,
you?
I find someone getting out of their car and I'll go up and say, "Do you need a cart? Oh, here's a quarter." And I said, "No, thank you. Just give someone else a free cart and keep on passing it along." And I always try to do that. And I'm bummed if I look around and I don't see anyone that I can give a free cart to. So I go back and went, "Oh, well, not for today."
You see, you and I are always on that same word. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yep. 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 Soul tribe. Soul tribe.
Yep.
So, other than a conscious decision to give out this love and kindness, do you think maybe that since you're in touch with the elementals and the Sasquatch and stuff like they have a mission to guard the portals, do you think they've tasked you with that
I
or help you along with your mission of spreading that?
I don't know. I really don't know. I know that I know that whenever I'm out there, and all I know is that it brings me so much joy to be out there.
Hmm.
You know, I if I don't get out and get into the woods and ground and I don't I do I want to hug a tree. I want to put my hands on it and I want to feel the
Right.
energy and I want to touch
Yep.
it and I want to feel the water and I want to like
Smell the
whatever, you know.
flowers.
Yeah, like
Hmm.
it's like it's the place I want to be all the time, all the time. It
I
it,
was,
it energizes me and gives me more energy and more like just to keep going, that motivation, that like, oh yeah, that life force, you know, to just keep going.
yeah, I was going to bring up grounding that, it's great to get out in the woods and out in nature and experience that, what it has to offer you, the peaceful feeling and
Hmm.
actually the connection with the earth. But is there anything that you do at your house for grounding? I mean, do you go out in your backyard barefooted and try to get
Hmm.
that feel for Mother Earth under your feet too? Or I mean, Jane
Mm,
does all the time.
I'm always barefoot.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, and then I always have like all kinds of like, you know, I have all my crystals everywhere, you know, and I get, oh, there goes one now. But I have all kinds of crystals everywhere, all kinds of, you know, like I'm surrounded by those things all the time because I
Mhm,
if for whatever reason I can't get out that week, you know, and it happens sometimes a lot, just depends. Because because I do have, you know, I do have fibromyalgia, so I do have to rest too. So I have to take care of myself like that. So sometimes if I can't get out, then I do draw energy from that. Also the moon, you know, you can get
mhm.
draw a lot of energy, soak in a lot of energy just from, you know, the moonlight and how, you know, that helps me too. So
Now, is there a special spot? I'm not asking you to name the spot, but just in general, is there a special spot that you go to that you feel more energy than, say, another spot that you've happened to go down a trail?
there's a couple.
Mhm,
The the area that I had my daytime sighting, that area, it's amazing. Like it's so crazy. Like when I'm there in that spot, when I'm in that place, it just it's like it's almost like I can feel the electricity in the air from the
mhm,
energy. Like it's just that like it's just thick, 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 thick. And it's just this harmony, this like love, peace, calm, like joy, like it's all there in this one spot. Like I love it. There's that spot, and then there's another spot in Mayaka. Um, when Matt and I had our very first expedition, we went on together and about 2 years ago, and that was like the beginning and the jump start for us. That's how we got into all of this. We had been talking about these things. I had always watched these weird things on TV, always finding
mhm.
Bigfoot, all these things. So my kids grew up with that stuff. weird things.
Same here.
Like mom's into weird stuff. Like they used to be, he'd call me up and and he'd be like, "Oh, did I interrupt one of your Bigfoot shows, mom?" You know? So Matt says he kind of had this attitude of, it's so funny because he had this attitude of, well, if you can't beat him, might as well join him kind of thing. So he says, so he messages me one day and he was like, "Hey, I just saw this on Facebook. Check this out." And it was like a little like a posting from I forgot where he saw it, somewhere on Facebook, about this like event that Stacy Brown was going to be doing in Mayaka. And he was like, "Why don't we go?" And I was like, "Really?" And then he messaged Stacy and he was kind of like, "Hey man, like, this is like this, what kind of activity you think to expect with these things?" And Stacy literally said to him, he's like, "Hey man, don't worry about it. The most we'll probably ever see, maybe we'll see an orb or two." Right? Oh boy, it was way more than an orb or two that weekend. Like,
Wow.
we had everything. Everything. There's a haunted house on the property that we were at. We got EVPs that night. We got photos of I never saw the orbs with my eyes, but when I took the photos, they were in my photos. We had orbs. We saw a UFO. We were actually we went kind of how they kind of, some of like a group would go and do a paranormal thing at the haunted house, and then while another group would go and do a nighttime hike with like in a couple of areas, right? So it was me and Matt and Tyler from Tyler Howell Outdoors was with us, and Stacy and Marion. Marion actually spoke was on part of the Skunk Ape Roundtable this week, last week at the conference, and so we're kind of like doing a hike, and then all of a sudden we see Tyler looking up in the sky, and he's like, "What is that?" And it was like the canopy was kind of thick over this it's not really a lake, but it's not really a canal, but it was over this water, and we were looking out and in between the trees, and we see this red thing going back and forth just like this, right in the middle of Orion's belt, right in between the second and the third one, bouncing, going back and forth like this. So we're looking at it and we're like, what the heck? And we're looking at this UFO, and Stacy's like, "Hey," he goes, "we're not too far from the road. Let's see if we can get out to the road and see if we can see it, but get a better view." By the time we made it to the road, it was gone.
No.
We got back to camp, and Ruby Joe and Phyllis, these two beautiful women, they stayed back at the camp. They were at the fire pit, and they're like, we got out of the car, and they were like, "Hey, we saw a UFO." And we're like, "Really? So did we." And she goes, "Yeah, we saw it there in Orion's belt, and then it just like it shot off."
Wow.
And we were like,
Cool.
"Oh my gosh, you saw the same UFO we saw."
Oh.
So we had that. We found footprints. We found, oh my gosh, Matt actually found hair that weekend.
Wow.
It was off the chain this weekend.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Cool.
After that, that's what propelled us to just like, now it's the life. This is the life now. This is a different life we lead, but yeah, that's what just catapulted us right just in this community, like went from there.
Now, when you were there, you said about, sessions in the haunted house. Did you guys go there? Did you have any experiences in the house?
Wow.
Well, I've been to that house a few times, and since that particular weekend, Matt had on headphones, and he had the N1 Zoom. When it comes to equipment, I can't always remember the names. That's not my forte. And so he had the Zoom audio recorder, and there was a girl, Tiffany, who was actually sitting in the devil's chair. They call it the devil's chair. Somehow this chair showed up in this house. Nobody knows where it came from. And on the back of the chair, it's a carving of like the devil and like a pentagram and this whole thing. So Tiffany's in the devil's chair, and we're trying to do the Estes method, and she wasn't getting like anything. So Stacy's literally outside of the house. He's outside asking questions. She's absolutely, and I have this on video. I have this on video. I have not released it, and I'm just starting to releasing some of the stuff that I have. I'm going to slowly be releasing some of the stuff that personally I have. So Stacy's outside asking questions, and we're all kind of sitting there waiting on her to kind of start saying what she hears. And she kept saying over and over, she was like, I don't hear anything. All I hear is like classical music, or I'm not hearing anything, or like she wasn't hearing anything. And in front of me and Matt, where we were standing, there's a doorway to a bedroom. And this house is like from I think it's 1889. I think it's called the Tatum House. And you can do research on it. It's in Mayaca City. It's called the Tatum House. So we're in this room. She's sitting in front of me. The doorway is just a little bit past her to her, like she's actually she was kind of facing towards the doorway. Matt's standing right in front of the doorway. I'm sitting down. Stacy's asking questions. The first two, I heard it audibly, and Matt heard it through his headphones that he had on, okay? Because I literally went, and I looked at Matt, and he looked at me like, and so Stacy's asking questions, and all we hear is,
Oh, man.
Oh.
I heard it with my own ears twice. After Matt went back and checked the audio, there were 11 responses. Just like that.
Wow.
Each one to a question that Stacy asked outside. And no one else in the room heard it. It was weird.
Wow.
Since that weekend, we've been back. We've been back a few times, and one of the times that we were there, I was like, let's do a spirit box session. Let's do it. Well, something tried to jump me. There was I felt this negative presence come into the room. And I've got the necrophonic app on my phone running, and I'm going, I said, did something negative just come in? And then it says demon. Spirit box is the app on my phone, the necrophonic app says demon. I said, that's right. It's a demon. And I felt it. It was the very first time that anything has ever tried to jump me. It was the first time.
Wow.
And I felt the cold hit the calf of my leg, and it started working its way up my body. And I literally just kind of like, just literally was like, whoa, stop. I started talking to it, like, stop. You're not allowed to do that. Like, So as I'm doing that, I'm not paying attention to anybody or anything. I'm focusing on this thing. Matt tells me later what comes across the app. These apps do not curse. Okay. Just like how they say, like, a spirit box you'll never hear curse words because it's like going through channels, radio stations, right? And they're not allowed to curse on the air.
Mhm.
It said, when I started telling it had to leave and it couldn't do it, it couldn't do that to me. It said, F you, swine.
Oh.
I
Yes.
heard cussing on Amber's show, and she's doing it.
Hey, you guys continue the conversation. I gotta see what the animals are going crazy upstairs real
Oh,
quick. I'll be
Yeah.
right back.
This is
But you guys keep
the worst.
going.
This is the worst she's ever done. I'm not sure what's going on. So yeah, we're having distractions today.
Yeah, right. It happens. It happens. But yeah, like there's only that happened to me there. And then I had another entity try to kind of jump me at a hotel once.
Oh,
We were staying at a hotel, and something tried to kind of take me over, but I recognized it so quickly because I remembered that how it felt that time when we were at the Tatum house. So I was like, okay, this is weird. But I mean, the Tatum house is very different. It's got so much energy. Everything in the house is period. So it's all early 1900s, late
mm,
1800s. So it's all period furniture, things on the walls, everything that's in there is all from the period time. And, you know, items can just have that energy, So
mm,
so that place is super, super active, super. Um, there's down here in Florida, they call it the Devil's Tree. There's a Devil's Tree. I have not been there yet. Matt has
mm.
been there a couple
Never heard of it.
times. Yeah. And there's two. There's actually two. There's the real Devil's Tree, and then there's a tree that everybody thinks is the Devil's Tree.
Devil's
They
Street
call it
wannabe.
Yeah, yeah, it's kinda like, the tourists think that this is the
Mm,
devil's tree, but the real there is a real devil's tree someplace else that, you know, um, serial killer did a lot of things there, and there's, a lot of rituals have been done there and things like that, so, I have not been there. There's, one of the areas that we have had the most success with our, kind of like experiment that we do with the UFOs that always come whenever we go there. That particular area is it's very different. It's in a very strange area. It's
mm,
not all that far from, the city. It's not that far from a city. It's pretty close. And we have more activity there than we really have anywhere else. We've gotten a lot. I've gotten a lot of communication with one of the female Sasquatches there. She's kind of shared with me a lot of stuff about that particular plan there. One night we were there, and we had a friend that showed up, and they wanted to use the Sierra sounds. They wanted to
mm.
call blast the Sierra sounds. Not my favorite thing, and I will never, ever do that again. I will never, ever let anybody else do that again because they didn't like it. They
Oh,
were very, very upset. So I asked him to stop. So he stopped them. And even after he stopped, we stayed and kind of still hung around, and we were just kind of chilling out and trying to see if anything was going to kind of come close to us. And all of a sudden I started getting that tightness in my chest. Like I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. It was so tight, so tight, so tight. And in this particular area, they come very close. It's kind of hard to describe. There's one side of us that's a very long tree line, so they can very easily come right up that tree line to us.
wow.
And you can hear, like you hear them, like you hear them walking up. You can hear them. And this particular night, the vehicles were parked next to each other, and we're kind of like hanging out kind of in between them towards my car was backed in, and the other guy's car was, facing in, and I had the rear of my car, so they're backwards. to each other. So we are at this point just kind of hanging out, kind of in between the cars, kind of standing and kind of talking after he just did this call blast of the Sierra sounds. I have never liked doing those kinds of things because, listen, not for nothing, we don't know what the Sierra sounds are saying. We have no idea.
Mhm.
It could be a mating call. It could be a, hey man, I'm challenging you in your area. Come check me
Right.
out. I don't, I don't know what they are, right? I don't think it's a safe thing to do. You don't know what you're sending out there. So we heard them coming up. We heard that. My chest is starting, I'm like to the point where I can't even hardly breathe. I'm kind of like like taking deep breaths, like I couldn't breathe. And I'm like, and so then I just start, whenever that happens to me, I just start mentally, I just start putting out, we mean you no harm. We're here with respect. If we disturbed you, we apologize. We're only here for higher learning. So I'm always, that is what the vibe I put out and the intention that I put
Mhm.
out to them. So, and I believe your intention has everything to do with what kind of encounter or interaction you have or don't have with them, in my opinion. Whenever, we go out, I always set the intention
Mhm.
that
Same here.
we're here to learn. That's it. We're here to be respectful and to learn. So that night, we're standing there and I start feeling like I can't breathe. I start trying to communicate with them, telling them we don't mean them any harm. I didn't know that this person had brought a weapon. I didn't know that. Now,
Oh,
I'm not saying that no one should have a weapon. That's not what I'm saying.
right.
But I could tell that the intent he had with that weapon might have not been so pure, right? Like, we have a weapon, it's to protect us, right? It's for
Mhm.
protection purposes, and they know that. I do believe that they know the difference. So at this point, I didn't know he had a weapon on him. I didn't know that. Matt knew, but I didn't know that at this point. So I'm kind of telling them like, hey, we mean you no harm. We mean you no disrespect. We are sorry if we disturbed you. We don't, we're just here to learn. Da, 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 da. All of a sudden, a rock hits his car.
Oh,
His car that was playing the Sierra sounds. So we heard a ding. So then we're like, whoa, where did that come from? We heard it whizzing through the air, and then we heard it hit his car. So we're like with the flashlight looking for this rock. We don't know where it is. We never found it.
oh, wow.
So then we're there. That was rock one. So then we kind of calmed down and we're like, hey, I don't know, maybe it was like, we're like making up every excuse known to man for where that rock came from and what it was from and all that, right? Because we're just like, yeah, no, yeah, can't be them.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, rock number two hits his windshield so hard it shatters and leaves it puts a nick in his front windshield.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So we're all like, whoa. We're kind of like, did that just happen? And then we're looking at his windshield. We're got the flashlight on it. We're like, oh my gosh, there's an actual nick there. Like we were like, rock number three lands on the hood of on the top of my car, not the hood, but on the top of the roof of my car.
Mm.
And at this point, they're kind of smaller rocks, they're not gigantic big. They're just kind of like little pebbles, right? Like kind of nothing big. So the one that lands on my car, I document it, I photograph it because that was the first one we found. The other two we couldn't find. It was wet. When Matt picked it up, it was wet. And we hadn't had rain in
Wow.
days. So how it got wet, I don't have a clue. After rock 3 comes rock 4 that hits his car again. And it's about that big.
Mm.
Except this rock before we picked it up, we find it has a clear hair on it. It has a clear, solid, perfectly clear hair.
Wow.
So we document it, Matt bags and tags it kind of thing. And we're taking our time still. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, okay, we gotta go. Like I'm feeling the anxiety from them. Like they're just like coming in. There's more. Like it was kind of like there were 2 and then there were 3. And then like I could feel them just starting to kind of like, kind of get us into a bad situation. And I'm like, we need to go. Before we could get everything put away and get in our cars, rock number 5 comes, and rock number 5 is this big.
Oh man.
Huge. And they didn't. Here's the interesting part. Every single rock they had thrown that night was perfect, perfectly aimed, never hit anybody. This rock hits a sign right next to the friend's car. We're like, okay, fellas, gotta go.
Time
We'll
to
see you later.
Yeah.
Time to go.
And we laugh. Because but they're telling you they don't want you there without hurting you. I mean, they could have hurt us. They weren't that far from us. They were not that far. They could have hurt us if they wanted to.
Yeah, they could easily hit you with those rocks.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
at any point.
Mm-hmm.
At any point. And they didn't. They didn't.
Wow.
It's crazy that, the accuracy. I was blown away. I couldn't believe it. And how when the rock hit the roof of my car, I heard it was because the other rocks were kind of like focused on the other guy's car, the guy that was like blasting the Sierra sounds out of his vehicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when that one hit the roof of my car, and I was like, when I heard it come down, like it was like I heard it was a different sound, right? It was like a different kind of like metal, hitting a different. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. And then I started looking around my car, and then I just happened to like look up, and I see it on the roof, and I'm like, Matt, it's up here, and we'd had no rain. How the heck it was wet? And then Matt said, he's like, oh, he goes, well, maybe they had it in their mouth. Like maybe they were holding something in their mouth or had it in their mouth, or I don't know, but there was no rain for days. So how it got wet, I don't know. But
Interesting.
yeah, we still have the rocks. We still, and the hair, I've actually shown the photo. I'm not sure if I can, hold on, let me see. Let me see if I can pull it up. I might be able to. Hold on. Let's see. If I go, okay, I think I can. I think what I have to do is I have to pull it up, and then you have to add it to the stream. So hold on. Let's see. One moment. Let's see here. I know I have it. Bear with me. I'm sorry.
Nope.
That's okay.
I'm looking for something also, and I found it. So
Because it is really cool. And when you see it, you're just kind of like, what? I mean, the only thing that has clear hair are polar bears. And none of those are in Florida. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here it is. Okay. Here we go. I found it. Okay. So now go to window. window. Why is it not? Can you see that? Can you see that?
No,
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
sorry.
You see it?
Marty
No.
went poop. Did you
Can you
accept
see
the
it?
share screen?
Can you guys see it?
No, I
No.
was trying to see if I could see a share screen, or I don't see it on here, so I'm not very good at StreamYard yet.
Down at the bottom, down at the bottom.
I see present.
Yeah. Yeah. When you go to present,
It says slides or video file, but I don't think that's what we
see
want.
see the bottom where it says share screen?
No, I don't see that at all.
All you see is when you click on present, it doesn't say share screen.
No,
Whoa. Wonder why.
That's weird.
probably
Yeah.
because we're on a tablet instead of a computer.
Maybe. If
I thought we
I
shared screens.
okay, how about this? I can message it to you. I can message the photo and then you can share it, right? Then you can put it
Yep,
up
should
on
be
the
able
screen.
to.
Okay, we'll do that. We can do that. There's always got to be a workaround, right? Always a workaround.
There's always something on a live stream.
Always.
Just like starting the wrong show.
Hey man, like I said, I'll get like 10 times the views now. If they think I'm Robin McRae.
Yeah, this is Robin McRae and Duke. Oh,
Exactly.
yeah,
Sorry,
we'll go
Duke
back.
couldn't make it, everybody.
We'll edit it back.
Okay. Hang on. There it is. Okay. All right, yeah, you should have it.
Yep.
Crazy, right?
Very nice. Nice. Now I need to try to get it over to the tablet.
Don't worry. You'll become a pro at it.
You guys keep talking and I'll work on getting it up there.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm going to go back. Do I have it saved? Yes. At the very beginning, Maggie in chat went blip? Question mark. The next comment, she says blip, a version of a common name Gregory, which means spider monkey in Polish. Interesting submitted name, meaning by a user.
Wow.
Username.org. So does that help any that blip means spider monkey?
That's kind of crazy. Huh.
And
I'll have to tell Matt that. Matt, it's not, you know, like the last time that he came through, Matt and I were, it freaked Matt out, like the stuff that he says that, 'cause again, like it's so hard to explain, but when I'm in that state, I don't remember what is said. I don't remember. I don't know why. I just don't. I don't. I have no memory of it. It's almost like they're channeling through me, I guess, and maybe that's why.
Well, do you think it's kind of like a mind speak, like Robin does?
No, because he's not. He's definitely not a Sasquatch. I don't know what blip is.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think that he's an off-world ET. I think that blip is interdimensional.
Hmm.
And there's a case that Matt and I have kind of been working for a very long time, a specific case. And we think that he's associated with this case. I can't, like I said, I can't really give like some stuff like,
Right.
Matt's working on like 2 or 3 films. Like,
Right.
it's kind of like he's got one that's going to be coming out under Outcast Paranormal. They're going to be producing it, so it's going to come out in a couple months. So there's going to be that film, but then he's got stuff for like 2 more films, 3 more films. So, he's some things I can't talk about because they're going to be in the film. So
Right. Exactly. We understand.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. But everything that he's been doing with Outcast Paranormal has been it's been an actual dream for him. Like he loves those guys. Those guys are amazing. I know that on the podcast that they have, I know that they pick on him, but it's actually a term of endearment, guys. I mean, people have said to me, "Oh my gosh, they treat Matt terrible." I'm like, no, 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 no. Y'all don't understand. It's not really like that. You know what I mean? Like they just tease him, and it's like getting hazed, right? Like, you're the freshman and you're brand new on campus and you're trying to get into a fraternity. It's just kind of like that.
Mhm.
It's really not, and it's just been a great opportunity for him. They actually next weekend, if anybody is in the Tallahassee area, they are going to be doing the second. They did one last October. They're doing another one this upcoming weekend. It's a live stage show where they interact with the audience, and it's like this it's like in this haunted venue. It's so much fun. But I've also heard they might be putting it and streaming it to
Oh,
their
Ooh. Ooh.
Patreon channel. That's what I'm hearing. I don't have exact details yet, but that's what I'm hearing. Little birdie
Cool.
told me.
So did you get
So
the
yeah,
photo?
it's really
I received the photo, but when I clicked to bring it up, it's having problems on the tablet for some reason. So I don't think I'm going to get it done. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
that's okay. That's okay.
Mm.
If anybody wants to see it, I guess what I could do on my show, maybe on Tuesday night, maybe I can, because we have a lot of the same people. So if you guys
Mhm.
remind me, if you come to my show this week, remind me in the comments, and then I'll put it up if anybody wants to see it on Tuesday night. So
Because
I'll put
I
it.
was trying to bring it up and I accidentally kicked myself out of the stream. I had to
Mhm.
rejoin. I was hoping it wouldn't end the show.
Yeah, right. Like listen. I've had a lot of weird things happen to me too. Like, I'll click this and click that. And Matt's like, what do where are you? Where'd you go? What happened? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I hit. I don't know.
Well, I experienced something tonight that I don't think you ever experienced.
What's that?
Well, earlier today, I saw a stink bug crawling on the floor,
Uh-huh.
and I was going to get him and I forgot about him. Well, he must have crawled up the wall and up on the ceiling, because if anybody hits the replay, you might be able to hear it at some point. This thing must have hit one of my tongue drums, and I heard this ding, and he heard it too.
Yeah.
I was thinking, oh my, and you're talking serious. We're just laughing to crack it up. I'm sorry about that, but and so I just kind of look and went, great timing. I
I
just
have
had to
heard
hit a note.
nothing can be stranger than a shadow person popping out at me on during my
Live.
show. Yeah, that's happened twice.
Did it show up on video?
No.
No,
It's
just
like,
for you.
yeah, like my desk is like on this wall, and it's the bathroom is right there and the door's open. And like I had the first time it happened, I had Amber on, And she started talking about my friend and described, she's like, who's this guy that came to me a couple days ago? And she's describing him and long, like and in the beginning, I could, like, he's been gone for so many years. And I didn't immediately pick up on who it was who she was describing. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I think I know who you're talking about. And then at one point he pops his head out, like shoulder, like from shoulder, like the shoulders up is what I see, kind of like come out of the bathroom and look at me, turned its head,
wow.
like turned its head and looked at me, and then pop back in. And I'm going like that. And Amber goes, yeah, he said boo.
Oh man.
I said, yep, that's him. Because he was
Wow.
like the forever prankster. Like he was the, like, so yeah, it was pretty funny. So it's happened to me at one night. It happened again. I can't remember who was on my show that night. I can't remember. It might have been Tom Springer. I think it was the night I had Amber and Tom Springer on at the same time. And when I saw that again, I'm like, oh my gosh, you just did it again. Like, really, Charlie? Like, come on now.
I
Wow.
was just telling Jane that the other night or last night, wasn't it? That I'd be a horrible ghost because I'd be making fun and having a blast. I wouldn't be doing no hauntings. I'd just be having fun myself, and everybody's like, "Man, you're a lame ghost."
But I really believe that, who we are and our, just like us, right? Like it doesn't change just because we're on the other side, like doesn't change. I mean, like I've brought home a couple of times. There have been one of them I didn't even know came home with me. Yeah, I didn't even feel it. I did not feel his presence. I had no clue he was here. I had no idea. All I knew was my dog was acting very protective over me, but not in like showing her teeth or growling. She would just every night in bed, she would like try to lay on top of me, and I couldn't. And she would be staring staring like at the side of my bed, like something's there. And I'm like, what do you? So finally I reached out, At first I reached out to one person. They told me such and such. Then I reached out to Amber. Amber told me such and such. So I knew where he had come from, and I knew what he was doing there. And it wasn't anything nefarious. It was just he saw me, recognized I had abilities. Because when you have abilities, sometimes, depending on your abilities, whatever, you're like a beacon to them. It's like you're a lighthouse, right? And they see you. And that's why you have to be careful when you go places, because your words have power. Never forget that. Words have power. When you go places, before you leave, you say, no one is allowed to come, no, you're not, nobody or nothing is supposed to, allowed to come home with me, attached to anything. You have to stay here. You can't come with us. Like, I always have to do that everywhere we go. But I didn't know he kind of like saw my light and just was like attracted. Just like, oh, she's really cool and I want to hang out with her. Like that's basically what he wanted to do. And he was a Native American. And he didn't want to cross over. So I tried to cross him over. Didn't work. So I call up Amber and I'm like, Amber, what do I do? He won't cross over. She goes, move him in the backyard. I said, hell yeah. I'll move him to the backyard. She said, put him out there where there's like a tree. And what I said, I got the perfect place. So he's out in my backyard near this big, huge, gigantic tree right by the water. And he's happy. He's happy. He's good. He's not leaving, but he's happy.
He's just kind of chilling out, hanging out with you, huh?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, like, it's funny because, they have free will just like we do here, right? Like they don't have to cross over if they don't want to cross over.
Mhm.
And he didn't want to go back to where he came from. He wanted to hang here. Okay, fine, but you can't be in the house because you're disturbing my dog because she's the one that's being disturbed by. I think that's the reason I didn't initially feel or sense him, because he meant no. It was all it just felt very calm, like, you know what I mean? He's very calm. So
Yep.
it didn't feel bad, that he was there. So, but yeah, there's a couple other ones out there with him now, but
Yeah.
You're gonna have a whole community out there, huh?
Yeah.
at
Keep
least my
adding them to the
neighbors don't.
backyard.
Yeah, at least my neighbors don't know. So they must think I'm weird when I go out there and I start like, 'cause I will go out and kind of talk to them a little bit and be like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" I do
Have them on
kind
the
of do that.
show. This is my
Mhm.
backyard family.
Exactly. Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly. I like to use dowsing rods too. I really
Same here.
do.
Mhm.
I do love using
Yeah.
my dowsing rods. I think that is the best thing. It's the best tool that I have found. I know a lot of people use pendulums, and
Mhm.
I like my dowsing rods. I ask, questions to my guides, my guardians, and they work for me. They
Yep.
work for
Same
me.
here. I've got 3 different ones. I really enjoy using them.
Yeah.
Just getting yes and no answers and
Yep.
just love them.
Yep.
Now we've watched shows where people use dowsing rods to find missing items for people too in their houses or wherever. Have
Yep.
you ever experienced anything like that?
No. Um, but Matt and I do use them in the field. We do use them in the field for different things. Um, we have also, I think for he and I, it's kind of been this like process for us with the dowsing rods, like this. In the beginning, it was kind of like, oh yeah, let's just like, yeah, let's get some ghost to say something. You know what I mean? It was kind of like that. But
Mhm.
honestly, I think it's just for us, it's evolved into us communicating with our guards and guardian, our guides and guardians. Like
Right.
that's really what I use it for. I don't really use it for ghost hunting anymore. It's not really for
Mhm.
that. I feel like I've built, like I've built this relationship with my guides and my guardians through the use of these tools, right?
Right.
And that's really what I use them for. And also I started doing that on purpose because that's how I started learning energy and learning how to read energy. I
Mhm.
actually use my dowsing rods to literally teach me how to do it, because it would be like, I know this sounds weird, but when I'm using my dowsing rods, I can tell who's answering the question by how they
Mhm.
Oh,
move the rods, how quickly they move and open or
Mhm.
close rods, how forceful, how slow.
right.
I can tell who's answering me and who's giving me the knowledge and who is talking to me.
Can you feel tingling in
And
your hand right before it moves? Like it's
sometimes, not all the
like it's
time.
get like yeah, like you can just feel the energy and then it
Only,
starts moving, and like you can just feel
yeah.
that energy starting to work and then it moves.
Only with one of my it's the main guardian that I do most of my communication with. When she's the one that's answering the questions, I
Mm.
feel that. I do feel that like little like kind of like a little like,
Tingle.
I'll feel that.
Mhm.
But only from her.
Interesting.
Now, not to be specific again, you don't have to answer anything in specifics, but your guardians. So obviously you have probably a male and a female. Do you have multiple guardians or only one or two, or how does that work?
Everybody has different. You can have,
Mhm.
I don't know, as many as you can count. I have four. I have four that I have. Um I have three females and a male. Um usually, I'm not going to say this is across the board for everybody, but usually you'll have, there are different types, right? So my particular guardian that I work with has been with me through every lifetime and will continue to be with me throughout all my lifetimes. She will always be with me. Then I have another guardian who has been with me through this lifetime. She will be with me through this lifetime.
Hmm.
I have an ancestral guide that works with me that helps me with my life choices, kind of thing, right? And that particular guide is from a past life that I had previous. And then I have one that I have not. It's so funny because it's interesting because she's young. Like I can tell she's young. I've been told she's young, but she won't communicate yet. But that's okay. I know she's there. And eventually, sometimes, you can connect with them during meditation. I've also had other psychics and mediums tell me things. And interestingly enough, like they tell me things that are, even though those people don't know each other, they all tell me the same thing,
Okay.
about my guidance. Yeah. So currently I have 4, and then I have a spirit animal, and my spirit animal is the owl.
Hmm.
Yeah. So when I see an owl, I know there's a message. There's a message in it for me. There's a message that I'm supposed to, a message or a lesson that I'm supposed to learn. So that's
So when
how
you
it works
say
for me.
ancestral, is it a family member that has passed, or is it something different than that I'm not, that's what I think of when you say ancestral.
It can be either one. It can be someone like that has, passed on that is from your lifetime that you're living now, but it can also be from another lifetime.
Okay.
Okay. And that's the connection that I have with this particular being, is that it's from another lifetime,
Hmm.
an indigenous lifetime. I remember when I had this meditation that I did, the one with the first one I ever did with the Tibetan singing bowls, Jane. Okay. That was the one that showed me myself in this indigenous garb. I don't know what it's called. And I know what I looked like, and it was me, and it was this, we were going to war is what it
So
was.
you're dressed in it for a period of time.
No, not
No?
necessarily a period. It was more, to try to describe it is kind of hard to describe. Like I knew that, so hard. It was like my face, right? Similar to my face, not exactly my face, but very similar to me. And it was like I had this, like, it looked like a headdress on, but it was a warrior. It was like, and I had a sword, and I had, like, I don't know, there was something, I guess, on my back. I could see something sticking out, right?
Okay.
So some sort of weapon. And I knew, and I had some blood on my face. So I knew that there was something, going on with that. And then that's only the second time that that's happened, that I saw myself in that time, in that lifetime. And I'm still not 100% sure, because the only thing I ever saw that seemed very similar to what I saw in my meditation was a photo of a Lyran warrior.
Oh.
So I don't know but I was indigenous. So I'm not 100% sure if that lifetime I was a Lyran on that planet because,
Mhm.
their planet was destroyed and, in battle. So I'm not 100%. Sometimes, like I said, like you see things, things and feel things, but you don't know the entire story because you just don't get
Right.
all of it. It's not like you go to meditate and you get an entire book. You
Mhm.
don't. You get bits and pieces, bits and pieces, bits and
And you have
pieces.
to sort the rest out.
You have to
Mhm.
sort it
So
out.
me and Jane have talked about this a lot, since we're
Mhm.
trying to raise our consciousness,
Mhm.
to bring us to a higher, I don't know,
Vib
dimension.
Vibration.
Not only dimensional, but just consciousness in general. And
Mhm.
we talk about, and we've heard from other people about, we have our own higher consciousness that's in charge of all of us and our guides. Is that how you feel, or is there something
Yeah,
different than that?
Mhm.
I think that's true. I think that's how it works. Mhm.
That's how I sense once in a while that sometimes it's your own higher consciousness helping you.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. I mean, I've even sent I won't do it again, though. Amber was going through some stuff, and we've talked about it on my channel before, her and I. Um, there was this evil demon that was plaguing her,
Mm.
and it would, like, she couldn't get rid of it, and it kept coming to her house. She has, like, 2 and, Heidi and Paul, right? So Heidi and Paul
Yeah.
are
Yeah, I know Paul. I haven't heard
yeah,
about the other
Paul's
one,
like
but
her
yeah, he's a
bouncer,
yeah,
basically.
Paul
Paul's
yeah,
her bouncer.
he shows up a
And
lot.
yeah, Paul's always there and Heidi too. So this thing came and took Heidi, and
Oh.
she couldn't get Heidi. She was trying to find Heidi and couldn't get Heidi back, and it was like this whole ordeal. And she was gonna basically, exercise this. She had to exercise this guy. So I sent my guardian to help her and assist her in that, and I will never do that again. I didn't send, I asked. I asked if
Mhm.
she would go and assist Amber, and she did. And when she came back, she was not herself, and she was
Mm.
very, very weak, and I could feel how weak she was, and I could feel that she wasn't it, there was something wrong. And I literally just and I don't even know how or why it came to me, and I just literally took every single stone, rock, crystal, every single thing I had, and I charged them up. I had them out. I put every single thing I had out, and I literally was like, "This is heal yourself. I know you can heal yourself. I don't know which one is gonna help you, but you do. Everything is here. Everything is here for you." And it took her a couple days, and she recharged, and she was okay, but I will never ask her to do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't do that again because I felt like, I mean, she went willingly. It wasn't as if I would made her go, but I do believe that they can still be injured, even though they're in spirit, even though they're interdimensional, or even though they can still be injured or hurt in a sense. I know that that's the truth.
Mhm.
They are beings just like us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
they have energy and they also
right.
go through things and their
Mhm.
energy is low.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Oh, Matt came in.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt.
I was just gonna tell you that your son is in the chats
Yeah.
and everyone's welcoming in. Hi, Matt.
Hi,
We're
Matt.
talking about you.
We were talking about you,
Yeah.
Matt.
Yeah, we were talking about Matt.
Well, I am very pleased to actually say that if anybody is going to the Gatlinburg conference
Concert?
conference in Gatlinburg, Tennessee in July, I will be there. Matt will be there, and my oldest is actually coming too. So everybody will get
Cool.
to
You're
meet.
gonna have the whole
I'm
family.
so excited.
Cool.
I'm so excited. I can't wait. I can't wait to have
And
both
that's
of
in
them there.
July.
I'm so excited. Can't stand it. Can't stand it. But
That's
yeah,
so cool. Did you get the dog to be quiet?
I think so, for a little bit anyway.
She's never been this bad. Maybe
I
something's
think the
up there
cats are
I
messing with her.
didn't even
antagonizing
hear
it.
her. I've heard nothing. I didn't hear any animal.
Really?
No,
Wow. Okay. Yeah,
I
she
didn't even.
normally does not bark like this upstairs.
I never even heard her.
Hmm.
It's the energy.
Yeah, yeah, it's the energy. Wow.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was looking up and I went, it's been an hour and 51 minutes already.
Yeah, it's just
believe
flown
it.
by.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's been fun. Does the does anybody have questions for me? Maybe.
Yeah, does anyone have any questions out in chat before we go? We've got a few minutes left. And I know where everybody's going to head over. They're thinking they're watching Duke and Robin O'Cray here on our show, but no, Duke actually he starts at 8 o'clock. So here in a few minutes, I know darn well most of our chat's going to be flying over to Duke's chat because he's starting at 8 o'clock. He's got that Dr. Ketchum on for the part
Oh,
3.
good. Okay,
Mhm.
good. All
So
right.
yeah,
Well,
if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Make sure they're on caps so Daryl can see them.
yeah.
Right.
Because you can see both chats. I can only see the one. I'm just watching our chat right now.
I meant to put that up earlier and never got to it. So,
Oh,
Okay.
thank
so
Susie B has a question
Susie.
in our chat.
What do you call yourself as far as gifts go? I just call myself an empath and an intuitive. You know, I mean, I do channel things, but not on purpose. Like when it happens, it just kind of happens. I have zero control over it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even recognize it as channeling for a while, and actually, it kind of happened. Matt and I we were in Georgia, and he was fishing, and we were in this stream, and I just started channeling somebody, and Matt was like, I didn't know
What
it
do
was
you do?
happening. Yeah, I didn't know it was happening, and he looks at me and he goes, "You just channeled so and so," and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's what you're doing."
What's wrong with you, Mom? What's wrong
Yeah.
with you?
Thank goodness my kids are so used to my weirdness that they don't even notice anymore. It's almost like I think Matt can attest to that. Like I've always been weird, right? Like it's just weird. I do
We're
weird
all
things.
weirdo warriors in this community. We really are.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, pretty much I call myself an empath and an intuitive. You're
Mhm.
welcome, Susie.
And we
Yeah.
also forgot to mention that, yes, not just Duke's being on at 8, Dennis will be on Grizzly at 8
Oh,
o'clock
that's
also.
right.
It's
Grizzly.
horrible that everybody's on at the same time, and there is
I
times I've
know.
done double chats. I've done it for a while, but it's not easy watching 2 different shows,
Not.
saying hi to everyone. Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
Thank you,
it's
Raven.
just been a great
thank you,
time.
Raven.
It
Yeah,
has
this has been a
been.
great time tonight, and it just goes by too fast.
It
Doggone it.
does. It does. It
Yeah,
does.
we'll have to get you back on another show, and we'll
Yeah.
make sure we're on the right stream next time.
Yeah, sorry, Chad. I'm glad you finally found us, whatever was live. Oh well, you gotta laugh at things like this.
Oh,
Yeah.
pyromatic. Thank you. He says that I'm a lightning rod
Your
down
lightning rod.
there.
Yes, you are a cool guest. We definitely will have you back. And
Matt and
we
I
got,
definitely bring the high strangeness. That's for sure. We do bring high strangeness everywhere we go. People are like, "Oh my gosh, if they're here, some weird shit's gonna happen."
well, I do have one last question.
Uh-huh.
Why did you give Robbie his hat back? You should have kept
I
that
know.
hat and took it home.
I
You look
know.
so good in his hat.
You know what? That hat was so big. I put that hat on and it was like to here, right? And I'm laughing and Robbie's laughing, like we're laughing. And then I had to literally kind of like prop it up and then kind of like,
Hurry up, take a picture.
Well, we were watching DA when he brought the photo up, to tease Robbie. And they all said, especially DA, that they're going to have to get you a hat. So you might get one from them.
Yeah,
Good. I need one. It's gonna have to be child size, I think, because I got
right.
a teeny little head, but
Yeah.
but
I
yeah,
want
that was
I want a
fun.
cowboy hat, and you can get a DA hat. How's that?
There we go.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
There we go.
awesome. Well, we're gonna have to order some hats tonight.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Thank you guys so much for
Well,
having me.
thank
Thank you, everybody.
you.
Thank you,
Yep.
everybody in the chat. I really appreciate everybody being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
It's been wonderful having you. Everybody in chat, make sure you go over to Marty's channel, the Nonnaboss
Yes.
Continuum, and see her on YouTube. I don't know, do you have other social platforms or just YouTube
I
right
have,
now?
no, I'm on Rumble, and I'm on
Oh.
Instagram, the Nonnaboss, just the Nonnaboss. And, that's really it. I mean, I have a link tree on my channel or whatever, and I have buy me a
Right.
coffee, and I don't know. Matt put it together for me. I'm bad like that.
Mhm.
I can't remember everything, but yeah, like we've got, like that. I've just, I'm just trying really hard to kind of just do a Tuesday show and only the
Mhm.
Tuesday show. I do, if you guys don't mind, you can stick around just one more minute. I do want to try to plug again the experiencers forum, the experiencers fellowship forum. If you haven't heard about it, basically what it is, it's going to be, I'm supposed to start it the next Friday, the first Friday in May. I only have like a couple people that reached out to me. Like, I'm so surprised. And so basically what it is it's a private stream. It is not public. It will never be public. It's not recorded, anything like that. It's a private stream. If you're interested, reach out to me at thenonnaboss@gmail.com. Send me an email. It's for experiencers. It's for anyone that's had any kind of cryptid experience, paranormal experience, or ET experiencers. Sometimes people don't want to share their encounters or their experiences with, on a podcast,
Right.
but they need that fellowship, right? To kind of get over, maybe they're traumatized or maybe they have PTSD or something like that. And they do need that fellowship from us. So basically, it's just going to be kind of like an environment where it's very small. We can only have 10 people at a time, on a stream. And it's just going to be small. It'll just be some of us who are experiencers. And if someone wants to join us and be a part of it, it's Friday evenings. From I think it's from 7 to 9, I think. But I literally have had zero. I've only had 4 people reach out to me. But they're not new to me. Like, they're people that, I know, you know what I mean? I
Right.
appreciate, and they're going to be on the stream with me. But I was really hoping to reach outside of my circle and have maybe some new people kind of want to participate. So I'm hoping that happens as time goes on. I'm really hoping. I'll be putting out a flyer. I'll be kind of blanketing all of the Facebook groups this week with my flyer again. I'm going to be sending that out, and I'm going to plug it again on my show Tuesday night. And we'll see what happens. But I mean,
Well,
it's
may
just,
this help.
yeah. I mean, because it's not for me. It's not for likes. It's not for anything. It's I want to give back to the community, and this is my way to do that. This is my way to kind of give back, right? Everything that I've gotten out of this situation and the people and the amazing people that I've met.
Now, do you want that shared out to groups? Because you could put it on our group page, and if you would send it to me, I have like 20
Okay.
groups that I post to our shows all the time, and I can share it out if you'd like.
That would be great.
Yeah, send him the information.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And then if any of you are interested, please reach out to Marty.
Yes, definitely. Definitely just the nonnaboss@gmail.com. Send me an email. And then what I do is whoever wants to participate, they'll get an email with the StreamYard link is basically how they'll get it. It's just
Okay.
the email. So, but I mean, I've got 3 or 4 people that want to participate. So, excuse me, but like I said, I was really hoping I could kind of reach outside, break
Yeah.
down some
Right.
boundaries, and help people. So that's what I'm hoping.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, this has been a great show, and I think we're going to go ahead and end it. And
Yep.
everybody in chat and everybody that sees this later on, make sure you go to Nonnaboss's channel on YouTube and all her social media and give her some love. Show her, let her reciprocate back all that love and kindness that she puts out there, and show it to her. And give her a like and subscribe, and make sure you share her videos out all over wherever you can. We need to get this word out, for everybody to be loved and peaceful and kindness to one another. And this community, I know, can do it because they show everybody love all the
Oh,
time. I mean,
yes.
there's very
Yes.
few
Loving
that show
community.
up, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you
That
guys
is
so much.
wonderful. And
Thank you.
stay on behind the scenes. But thank you, everyone, for joining. We will see you next time and have a wonderful evening. Love you.
bye.